Guys, you know what, yeah? I was thinking the other day, the Houston Rockets might just have the most confusing player in the entire NBA. And yes, I'm talking about Jalen Green. And you guys might be thinking, so what makes you say that? Well, let's dive into his counting stats. So on paper, 22 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3.6 assists. Looks great on paper. For a second-year guard, that's absolutely phenomenal. But then you dive into the fact that the Rockets are absolutely terrible. They have like 19 wins. He shoots 41.6% from the field and 34% from three, whilst nearly taking 8 attempts from downtown per game. Shooting only 34% doesn't really match. The percentage and volume don't go together. Now, a big thing with Jalen is consistency. He can have nights like he did the other night where he drops 30 on magnificent efficiency, and he can also have games where he has 12 points and 20 shots. Now, I'm not going to completely blame Jalen Green because Silas's coaching has been a question point. The roster's not great, and there's other structural things within the Rockets which just aren't amazing and doesn't play into Jalen Green's favour. However, he does need to tidy up the shot selection. I feel like Jalen Green is a magnificent driver to the rim. He attempts only 5.8 free throw attempts per game. And if I were the Rockets development staff, I would make him watch a ton of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he gets the line 10 times a game, not just from being aggressive, but there's certain ways you can manipulate the defense to force them to foul you. And Jalen Green is such a threat when he's driving to the basket. I want him to up them free throw attempts to around 10 a game because that will not only increase his point per game average, it will make him more of a dynamic and scared scorer, which will force the defense to guard you without trying to foul you, which will lead you to have a lot more easier looks. Now, he's a very competent shooter, much more than his percentages say, but I feel like at times he does force some shots up. Again, he's a heat check type of scorer. He will have games where you're like, Jalen, stop shooting that shot, and he'll have games where you're thinking that's a terrible shot and it's flying in, but he needs to kind of tidy up the shot selection in order to make him more of an efficient player as a whole, because that's why his average is so low. I've never seen a player who can be so good and so bad within the space of 5 games. Now, back to the Houston Rockets roster construction. You're not particularly helping him because, like I said, forget the efficiency. Those stats for a second-year shooting guard are phenomenal. You're on the trajectory of a Zach LaVine or similar to Anthony Edwards. Not comparing the type of player, not saying he'll be that good, but stats-wise, he's doing pretty well. When are you going to realize that Jalen Green is an actual point guard facilitator next to him to be successful? When KPJ's been healthy, we understand and we should have realized by this point that he's not a facilitator. He's a score-first guy who can pass the ball, but an overall playmaker on this team will not only help KPJ, it will definitely benefit Jalen Green and the other guys on this roster. KPJ, I see as a 6-man microwave-type scorer that can give you 21 off the bench. Similar to a Clarkson, but I feel like KPJ has a higher ceiling than a Jordan Clarkson. Jalen Green could potentially have all-NBA potential, but you're holding him back by not putting the right piece around him. Give him an actual point guard who can set him up and give him actual looks, and maybe his shot selection might tidy up and clean up, because scorers score. Scorers will get their shots up. Draymond Green said plenty times that when he wasn't on the floor, Klay Thompson will chuck up shots regardless and get them up regardless. But Draymond's job on the floor is to make sure that Klay takes cleaner looks, which helps him become more efficient and have a higher point output, which helps the team. So you can't directly always blame Jalen Green when the team itself isn't doing its best job in getting Jalen Green in the best positions offensively. Now, another issue I have to point out is Mr. Steven Silas. Now, Silas. I'm not going to be one of them guys that just hate Silas for no reason or give no reason behind me disliking Silas as a coach, apart from the Sengun situation, but more plays need to be ran. Now, it's not every day isolate through Jalen or have the most stagnant offense of all time, which results in a very bad shot clock heave at the end of the shot clock. You have number 3 overall pick in Jabari Smith. Run him some plays. And I know he started to do it as of late and Jabari's looked much better. But when you find more guys on the roster you can run plays for, that opens up the floor for someone like Jalen Green. Explain to me why I've barely seen a Jabari Smith-Jalen Green pick and pop be ran. Jabari Smith is a competent shooter, even though he's not been shooting it that well. We know that will come with time. And Jalen Green is a very powerful and intimidating driver when it comes to the rim. You don't want Jalen Green running a full head of steam to the rim when you're guarding him. But I barely see that action ran. Like, there's certain things which I believe Silas needs to get more creative with, which will help unlock Green and help unlock others on the roster. And as a whole, will lead to the team being better. Like, I know Rockets fans try to hide their pain when they see a painful loss or terrible basketball and be like, Silas is just helping with the tank for Wemby or helping with the tank. But bigger picture, You've been tanking for nearly 3-4 seasons now. It's not just about tanking. The team is actually bad. It's not run properly. The coaching staff ain't the best. And you can argue John Lucas does a better job every time Silas isn't there. But as a whole, there's a lot that needs to change. Now, I'm not going to be too negative because at the same time, the Rockets can make some huge changes in the offseason. Harden could come back. They could make some big moves, which completely flips the picture. But what I'm seeing right now, why would James Harden want to come back? The team hasn't shown any signs of being a destination where James Harden can come and attract someone else. The OKC Thunder are a team who are showing progression with their rebuild. The Orlando Magic are also. The Rockets are stagnating. They have the talent. Sengun has the potential of a Sabonis, even better. Jalen Green had the potential of a Zach LaVine, maybe better. Kevin Porter Jr. could be an all-star. You have 3 guys who could legit be all-stars in this league in the next 5 years. Yet your team is rock bottom looking at the 10 and fucking 72 Sixers. It doesn't make any sense. So that's when you need to kind of wind it down. Look at the coach, the front office, and other things in their franchise which aren't really the best. Now, that's all I really got for this video. It's a bit of a Rockets rant, but, yeah. Jalen Green is a player with a lot of upside, and I believe that his third season will show a lot about the type of player he is, whether he takes the jump and the leap, whether his shot selection is just bad because he isn't always the smartest offensive player, or if it's because his lack of talent has forced him to be like, F it, I'm going to get my shots up regardless. I don't care. The team around me isn't good enough. So, yeah. It would be nice if the Rockets could provide him some help and make the team more competitive. But who am I? I'm just a spectator who talks about the team. But thank you guys so much for listening. I'm out. Peace.